Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
What is up, everybody? Happy
Wednesday
on the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, of course, Cotton Studios, because we're actually in the Cotton Studios again today.
It's twice
in
1 month.
Well, yeah, that's true, because with the last show we were here too. This pre-recording schedule is driving me nuts. Anyway, I am,
and the first one in March, we're gonna be here too. 3 in a row. That's the hat trick, Meacham.
Happy birthday to me!
Now, can we come together
Right now
for the second March show? And I think that's called a streak.
Streak going into WrestleMania. I like what you did there, considering the WrestleMania main event show. One of them was a streak match, at least one. A couple of them, actually, now that I think about it. We are the dads, not always in wrestling. You can kind of see around us here, the graphic, if you will.
But
yes,
you already knew that.
You did already know that. And if you know that reference, then you're in the right place. If you don't, do your research, goddamn.
For the record, and I know you know this, but I've been going back. I mentioned on Open Mic Night, I've been going back, kind of re-editing some of the old episodes of Renegade of Wrestling, whatever, because I'm going to kind of re-upload them. Give kind of like a little throwback Thursday vibe with all kinds of classic content going up. But so I heard that quite a bit as I was re-editing those.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
And I felt like this was the opportune time to throw that in there.
Probably better for the next show when we talk about top 10 feuds, but did it really?
It's fresh on the brain.
Was it really a feud with Ray and I at the end of the day? Really? I mean, it's I'm still here and he's not. So anyway. He is, of course, as it says on his name. Wow, we're live, folks, live to tape. On his shirt, the Renegade, J.J. Williams. But you also knew that, otherwise, what the hell are you watching? Why are you? Yeah, I am
Jeff, MRF and Meacham. We're too fresh. Yeah, we're too fresh to drop the F-bomb.
Yes.
His shirt doesn't say it, but you can go to Teespring. You can go to Pro Wrestling Tees. There's plenty of places you can go and buy a shirt with his name on it.
That's right.
So,
And again, in the first quarter, there will be more across.
That's right.
Across the Pro Wrestling Tees, because that's the only one I have direct access to myself. Anyway, but we are here today not to talk about merch just yet, because our promotional shows are for the end of the show, as we do.
That's right.
We're here to talk about the matches that defined the in-between.
That's right.
And what we mean by that, we don't mean the cafe behind First Day at Disneyland, because although they do have bomb-ass food for relatively low prices at Disneyland, so don't kill us because we don't give it to y'all, I guess. We're talking about the show that falls in between, most of the years anyway, WrestleMania and the Rumble before it. We're talking about No Way Out. Now, I understand at home that No Way Out 2012 was not exactly between Rumble and WrestleMania, because
it was June.
They had to add the Elimination Chamber-centric show to the schedule and just couldn't put it in their goddamn month of February. Whatever. I'm not the old man running the show at the time. I don't make those decisions. But No Way Out was one of those B shows that endured. Yeah. And not only did it endure, it not only survived, it thrived.
Yeah. I figured they had a good decade-long uninterrupted run from 2000 to 2009.
And majority because of what we're going to talk about today. Because these matches really set the tone for when you think about it, this is the direct roadblock, no, not that god-awful show, between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. This was the show where the Rumble winner could have a faux pas and lose his opportunity, which I'll talk about briefly. It could be their shows like this last Saturday where you have the Elimination Chamber matches that set up a championship match or determine a champion going into WrestleMania. So,
or you could have instances like 2009 where on the road to WrestleMania, both belts change hands.
Yeah.
And the future of the Rumble winner and who they're going to challenge is really kind of thrown up into the air, because they thought it was going to be one of these two people. And now it's two completely different people. The landscape changes so drastically. It was a B pay-per-view that really kind of felt more like an A pay-per-view, because it was that last stop, if you will, last major stop before WrestleMania. And I mean, there was 1998. There was No Way Out in Texas, but
it
was what it was. It could have been so much better had Shawn not blown his back out at the Rumble.
Right.
And I think had Shawn been in that main event, that show would be better remembered.
Yeah, because you figure if Shawn stays healthy, and again, we're not going to talk about that match in depth because it didn't happen, and that show was what it was. But think about it: if that match actually takes place, you have what most likely would have been the original DX Army. Yeah, it would have been Hunter, Shawn, and the Outlaws, because the Outlaws were more than courted at that point. Yeah. It was going to be a thing after Mania. There was no doubt about it.
And then even if you bring in Waltman, The Raw, after Mania and add the sixth member, because you got to count China too.
Always count Johnny, yes.
So you add the sixth member as the man formerly known as Six. How much better could the DX Army have been? Like, we look back fondly on the DX Army as it is, arguably the best era of D-Generation X.
I would say that, yes.
How much better would it have been if Shawn had been healthy, though?
Right? And again, Shawn post-Mania trying to get the belt back, going into Unforgiven 98 and, having that obligatory WrestleMania rematch, as they ended up doing every freaking year after that.
Corporate Dude Love may not have been a thing, because it would have been Michaels Austin too.
Yeah, because figure Cactus and Terry
were that thread.
Yeah, Butterfly Effect is a mucker feather, and that's why No Way Out is so important. And that's why when he suggested to do the top 10 matches, No Way Out history, I'm like, there it is. There's a February show.
Well, and full disclosure, because like Paul Heyman, we don't like to bullshit our fans. We'll lie to the talent. We won't even pay the talent. But we don't lie to the fans.
We don't anyway, but that's okay.
This was supposed to be a February show last year.
Yes.
I just did not have the time with everything that was going on in my life to go back and rewatch all the No Way Outs. As it is, We literally just finished watching the 2012 show
Yes.
prior to rolling the camera.
I mean, literally,
I had 2 matches left. I had gotten through everything except 2 matches. And if you really want to be technical, 1 match, because that Ryback squash didn't need to happen.
Hey, Al Angel's in that squash match. We got to give Alan our love, though.
You get the minute word golf clap, Alan 5 Angels.
Because he won that match, technically speaking.
That's right. He pinned the other jobber.
He pinned the other guy.
Ryback pinned him,
right? You know.
But he pinned the other jobber. So
yeah. So before Reigns was stacking and smashing folks, Ryback was pinning in the Men of the Dark Order.
there you go.
So there you go. Who won that match? Good for you, Alan. We love you, brother. Golf clap again, like you said. But yeah, and full disclosure, I'm in such a good mood because it's always good to see Laurinaitis get his ass kicked and dropped on his damn back.
That's
so
right.
It's always a beautiful thing, even after what happened in Arizona, because that guy still. Anyway,
So when the opportunity presented itself to kind of rebook this show for this year,
yes,
had to commit, had to do my due diligence, and like I said, we literally stopped this. Jeff went in, had to do a quick little shave, makes himself camera pretty, which still got some work to do there.
It is what it is. Hey, like
and then we pressed record, like
so.
We are literally the clock on our video right now says 8:48. We're maybe 20 minutes removed from actually turning this TV off.
For real. So we give you guys that immediate knee-jerk reaction to things.
That's right.
Now,
at least we tried to.
Now, as we try to do, we're going to alternate because this is both of us have our own list show, not like the last one where we did a joint thing. Because again, that was very much JJ had the material, I just played off it. This No Way Out has always been one of my favorite shows, and I wanted to make sure, JJ wanted to make sure we each had our own list. So with that being said, I will now throw to the Renegade to give his choices for No Way Out par excellence, and then I will bring us home, Johnny Carson style.
All right, so most of the bottom half of my list are sentimental favorites.
Okay.
Starting with number 6 on, I think are like the money matches, if you will.
All right, that makes sense.
So coming straight out the gate, number 10, RVD and Kane challenging, for the tag titles against Regal and Storm, the Un-Americans.
Oh, wow.
Yep. It's well documented. What a Rob fan you are.
Well, yeah.
It's well documented how much I adore the talent that is one Lord William Regal.
Yes.
Put the tag titles on the line. You got Lance Storm, arguably one of the greatest modern era at that time performers to come out of the dungeon.
Yep.
Then you got the Big Red Monster, who's just kind of there
for this match.
We were slowly starting to get down that road to the unmasking.
Yep.
Because that happened during the RVD and Kane angle. So we're slowly starting to get to that, but we're not quite there yet because that happened around summertime, if memory serves me correctly.
Yes.
But just a good, fun tag title match.
Yep.
And again, you really can't argue the talent and skill of any of these 4 men. Kane's obviously the less technically sound, but when you're in there against guys like Regal and Storm, it gets pulled out of you.
You're going to be less technically sound anyway. It's one of those, you're going to be
a
little bit on that total.
They're going to pull the greatness out of you.
Yes. And again, if you're forgetting the time period, this is when Storm and Regal were very much in the Camp Bischoff section of the room, and RVD and Kane were pretty much feuding with management the entire way. You figure the WrestleMania Heat match was essentially a rematch of this, except that Regal was still so damn sick, so it was Chief Morley, Bischoff, Chief of Staff. But yeah, this is very much RVD and Kane bucking the system, which is a proven formula on Monday Night Raw, Lord knows.
Yeah. And we know how anti-authority RVD has always been.
The hell you say?
I mean, just go back and watch the Barely Legal 98 or 97 promo, excuse me.
Absolutely. And then, of course, Kane, who would become the chief of operations for the authority. But,
that was a decade later.
Literally, and he was still going strong. Because
a decade later.
Because Glenn's fucking awesome. We love that. But anyway,
I say, Kane isn't the most technically sound. And this isn't on my list, but it's kind of like the No Way Out match that we had. I want to say it was 08. Might have been, I think it was 08 of HBK versus JBL.
Yeah.
JBL has never been the most technically sound guy in the room.
No.
He's a brawler.
Yeah.
But HBK pulled a damn good match out of him, arguably probably one of Bradshaw's best.
And arguably in a storyline.
From a technical standpoint.
In a storyline that was
stupid to begin with.
Yeah, I was gonna say something ridiculous, but stupid works.
Although the fact that we had Rebecca on camera,
I'm aware of that.
And once he came back to the E, almost never saw Rebecca.
No. But when she did come back, she was a decent plot device both times. Figure the thing with Bradshaw and then the thing with Jericho. Yeah. So hey.
But yeah, RVD and Kane versus Regal and Storm starts my list.
Good solid start. I like that. And again, a feud that began before No Way Out and went well under WrestleMania and beyond. So good solid start. I dig it.
Number 9 is going to be my first of 2 chamber matches.
Oh.
It's no secret. No Way Out got replaced in 2010 by the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view.
Right.
So this is from the first year they actually did a chamber match. This is from 08.
Yes.
And you had Chris Jericho versus JBL versus HBK versus Jeff Hardy versus Umaga versus Triple H. Damn right. We just talked about Regal. I had to hit him with the Umaga.
I know.
So that means the JBL match was 09, not 08, because this was the 08 chamber. So because this was going into 24 Mania.
So the JBL feud with Michaels wasn't before Flair?
No. It was after.
Sworn it was, but okay. Anyway.
Brain farted myself, but
I did
it
too.
is what it is.
Yeah. You talked me into it.
This is why you lost the WTC
accurate. Yeah, 100%. Okay, so it's all your fault. Got it. Okay, good to know. Because he's the one talking into that shit being the thing. So anyway.
I could have sworn, but when I went back and I saw this match, I was like, no, this was one of the first chamber matches, so that had to be 08. So,
yeah. All right.
Okay.
All right.
But in any event,
Triple
H taking the match, and as anti that decision as I was, because I feel like there were so many better people to be the winner in this match. Like, I went back to rewatch this match, and even though he was, I think, the second man eliminated, I still think Umaga should have won this. Umaga was in beast mode at that point.
Yeah.
And him getting defeated, second eliminated, not even going to be like the final 2 or 3.
Right.
I just felt that really weakened him.
Yeah.
And we think about how Roman is now in God mode. Just think if Umaga had taken the strap, even if he had just gone into Mania with it.
Well, and again, when you think about this, No Way Out 08, Cena cashed in his shot early from the Rumble. So you think about WrestleMania implications out of No Way Out, Umaga ended up in that match with Batista for brand supremacy. Yeah, I was in the pizza for that. And then
as I was for most Batista matches, but that could have been a title match.
Yeah, and then the triple threat match ended up becoming out of this because Cena got his rematch because of the way Orton retained the title with No Way Out. So we had a triple threat match for the WWE Championship, which again didn't close the show. But it wasn't a bad WrestleMania match. But again, like you said, Umaga coming out of that with a shot at the championship. Figure that's Orton Umaga at WrestleMania, which again isn't a marquee thing, but at least Umaga would have had a center stage moment at least once at the grand show.
Yeah. Umaga is definitely one of those names on my modified, top 10 that should have been champion and never was.
Right.
Along with Piper, who I forgot when we did that show the last time.
Which,
I still kick myself for.
For everyone I get about the Back to the Future stuff, it's like, he forgot about Roddy and I've never been champion of this, so it is what it is. But again, yes, Umaga was in a marquee match the year before that I try so hard to forget about.
It's the Battle of the Billionaires.
Because of who was involved and anyway. But
at least that man that was involved in that match was involved in WWE more than Drew Carey.
This is accurate. And again, I won't. We're not going too far down the tangent. We're going to try anyway because we're live to tape here. We're not going to give this man too much to do later. But his induction into the Hall of Fame because of hosting and being involved in several WrestleManias, I can get with that. Drew Carey being in there for one appearance. No, Drew, that's a bad Drew.
Damn right.
Anyway, but yeah, again, Umaga being in the chamber and eliminated second. You scratch your head at that point, and definitely retroactively, but you think about it, it's like, had they already lost faith in Eddie at that point because it just wasn't there? Figure he was gone by the end of the year or early the following year, because he had the moment at WrestleMania with Lashley and McMahon and Trump, and then had that feud with Santino that was what it was. And then they really didn't do jack shit with him after that. So was he in the chamber just to go, okay, let's throw the big Samoan in there to give everybody doubt? You know, again, I don't think that was the right decision, nor does he, by pointing it out. Triple H winning, again, in 08, is Triple H really going to lose a marquee match? Probably not.
But again, you had Michaels, you had Hardy, you had other names that could have been the victor, and a believable victor over Hunter.
Well, but again, you think about it. If you put the people in there in the match, think about it.
I know.
There's no Michaels Flair if that's the case. If he becomes the winner to face the champion, Jeff Hardy ended up getting himself a little timeout between then and WrestleMania, so he wasn't in the Money in the Bank match. So again, hindsight is a burden, but it's also a blessing. Because you look back and go, Jeff Hardy wasn't even in the stadium. He was at home on timeout, had to drop the IC title as a result of that timeout, which put Jericho in the Money in the Bank match as Intercontinental Champion. So again, just a lot of things to make you, the things that make you go, You know, Triple H winning, maybe not the worst thing, but still a solid initial chamber outing at the No Way Out pay-per-view. So again, great call.
Number 8's a tag title match, another one. Edge and Christian versus the Dudleys versus the Brothers of Destruction.
Yes. I love this whole show, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
No Way Out 1 in Vegas was so good.
It really was.
Wish I'd gone.
Arguably one of the best top to bottom cards that they had.
I've got 3 matches from that show alone on my list, for the record. So
I know I have at least one more.
Yeah. That show was just so good.
Yeah. Like I said, and this was the peak of the Attitude Era.
Oh, it was, man.
This was pre-buying WCW.
Yep.
This was pre-absorbing all that talent and the invasion that was. And man, WWF really showed at this show why they were the industry leader.
That Road to Mania 17, between end of year and Rumble, between end of 2000 and WrestleMania, damn, so good. Every bit of that step, every bit of that road. You figure Armageddon ends the year with that 6-man Hell in a Cell, which again, people shit on it. I love that Hell in a Cell match personally.
Rikishi getting choke slammed into the back of a truck bed with hay in it.
I understand that part, but you figure,
I mean, you had to have the holy shit moment because Foley didn't set that bar.
And to be fair, Foley was involved in that match, just not getting his ass whooped full once.
But I mean, you know, Foley set that bar, so someone had that holy shit moment. It's like, so what do we do? What if we throw the Samoan off the cell?
Vince is like, can we at least give him a little patting? I mean, he ended up patting that ass, but I mean, can you make sure Junior's safe going off the top of that goddamn thing? You know,
we don't need Jimmy J and Solo to lose their daddy in 2000.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, figure that all the way through Mania was just everything. There's a reason that feud, that war ended when it did for WrestleMania, because everything hit on all cylinders. And like we said, No Way Out 01 was so good. And this tag title match, which, you know, me and triple threats, they go together like oil and water more often than not. But you got a solid choice here for tag. You get Edge and Christian and the Dudleys, which in 2001, let's just throw those two teams in any sort of tag title match.
Seriously, like these two teams, the Hardys included,
could
have literally had a tag team blindfolded match.
Yeah.
And made that shit fucking come out like filet mignon.
Seriously.
Because they knew each other so well in the ring.
Don't give them any ideas. They may still do it now. They crazy, all of them.
It's accurate.
Even Adam and Jay, who are both retired at this point, they crazy. And
As long as we resurrect the Duchess of Dudleyville, Lita, and then we can bring Beth along with ENC.
I'm here for that.
As long as we have them involved in the match also in some way, shape, or form, I'm down for it. If those three aren't willing to get involved, considering Lita's history with Matt, Lita's history with Edge, and then Stacy being more or less MIA, with the exception of inducting Tori Wilson in the Hall of Fame.
Before she went in herself.
But if we can't get those three on board, I don't want to do it.
I agree. But then you throw in Undertaker and Kane, who had just gotten back together.
Yeah. And honestly, as I still was shocked to see the Dudleys retain.
Right? Yeah.
Like, you would have thought that the BOD would have taken that shit.
Nope.
But they didn't. The Dudleys retained the titles in a match with Taker and Kane.
And again, context being king, as Bischoff always says, BOD was involved in that rivalry with Haku and Rikishi. I said what I said, and I meant what I meant. That was actually a thing in 01. For everything hitting on all cylinders, Haku and Rikishi being a tag team for about 45 seconds, that was what it was.
Are we sure that's not what Rocky says in The Mummy Returns? Haku Rikishi!
No, I'm not sure now that you said that. I don't know.
Giving a shout out to the fam.
Yeah, maybe he's trying to say Rikishi and it came out Machete and they're like, print that! It works! Roxy, but I messed up. No, it sounds better that way. Damn it, I was trying to get you your love.
Moving right along.
We at number 8, we 25 minutes in. That'll be a long show, kids.
Moving right along. Number 7 on my list is the ultimate sentimental favorite on this one. Too Cool versus the Radicals.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Eddie with his busted arm because he botched a frog splash.
Second night in.
His shoulder.
Yeah. That's Eddie do.
But just seeing those three in their first major outing since coming to the company.
Yes.
And then going in there against Too Cool, which Too Cool do what Too Cool do, It's hard to take Brian or Scotty seriously. But you put them in there with those three,
you're good.
Yeah, like
you're good.
You're reminded the fact that those two can actually throw down some fucking wrestling.
Well, yeah,
again, gimmicks are what they are, folks. But you go back and you watch some of those 97, 98 Brian Christopher matches before Too Much became a thing, which evolved into Too Cool.
Of course.
Brian Christopher was a great cruiserweight.
He was.
So was Scott Taylor.
Yeah.
And then you put this stupid gimmick on them.
And they worked it, though.
And you forget what great wrestlers they can be.
Yep.
It's almost akin to Cena.
Yeah.
Where he got so far down that rabbit hole of 5 moves of doom, hustle, loyalty, respect, and all that stuff.
Yes.
That you forgot what a good worker he could be until he got in the ring with a Benoit or an Angle or a Jericho or a Michaels or a Helmsley. And they pulled that back out of him.
Yep.
That's the way this match was. You forgot how great of wrestlers Brian Christopher and Scott Taylor were until they're in there across the ring from fucking Chris Benoit, the man of 1,000 holds, Dean Malenko, and Perry Saturn.
Yeah. You figure it like this. Even as Scotty Too Hottie, he was still the light heavyweight champion at one point. He beat Dean Malenko for that title. Let's not gloss over that.
No.
And Brian Christopher, prior to becoming Grandmaster Sexay, he retroactively, ragged on it being Mahler's son down the line, toward the end, as far as on TV and storyline purposes. But man, he was as hot a heel and as great a in-ring talent as his papa in the USWA. He was almost as many times world champion in that company as his dad was, because Brian was just awesome. And again, there was so much talent. You figure we're talking about No Way Out. There was so much talent on the roster in 2001 that people had to do something outside of that comfort box to get attention. Grandmaster Sexay and Scotty 2 Hotty doing them stupid dance moves and the worm and the thriller shit, it got them in a marquee situation more often than not. You figure WrestleMania, it was the two of them in China against the Radicals. You didn't get a whole lot hotter act in 2000 than the recently debuted Radicals against you and China with you. Straight up.
Yeah.
So good on them. And again, this WrestleMania implications. This match led into that WrestleMania 3 versus 3. Of course, Benoit was a little busy at WrestleMania doing his thing. And another triple threat, which I don't shit on, which is surprising. But
something I think they might kind of duplicate this year.
I still say they should.
Roman versus Cody versus Sammy. 2-fall match. Split the belts.
Yep. That would be the best way to split them and to give both outgoing champions definitive momentum. And I said the way I said it. And give Roman a reason to bitch and go away and protest for a while. And then come back stronger than he never.
Especially if he doesn't get pinned in either fall.
He can totally Kurt Angle it. 100% Kurt Angle it. And look how far Kurt Angle went in 2000 after that 2-fall loss. To the moon, right, Cameron?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Number 6. Number 6.
Okay. Yeah, 6. All right.
Number 6 on my list, and this is the second appearance of one person already.
Oh, all right.
2 out of 3 falls. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Triple H.
And that's only number 6. Yeah. That'll be on my list later, for the record.
I mean, the thing that still to this day shocks me the most, and it, almost as much as Vengeance Day.
Yeah.
And how Mello grabbed 2 in a row. Austin taking the first fall and then Hunter just getting back to back.
Yeah. Yep.
Austin got the fall in a general wrestling match, which you thought would favor Hunter.
Yep.
And then Austin went down and didn't get another fall.
Took a street fight loss and then a cage loss.
Yeah.
Again, 0-1.
Street fight you would think would favor Austin because at that point, because of the Nick issues, he was a straight up brawler.
Yep.
The cage was a coin.
Could have gone either way. Right.
But the match that you thought would favor Hunter got taken by Austin. And the match that you thought would favor Austin got taken by Hunter.
See, it's stuff like that makes me convinced that the reason the invasion bombed so bad was because Vince's brain was done fried after Mania.
I mean, it's very possible.
Because literally, without being too graphic, the run to WrestleMania, Vince pretty much blew his creative wad.
Yeah.
I mean, everything was so good until he walked out there and shook Steve's hand. Everything before that, going back a year and a half, I'll even give Vince that much. So good. He's probably like, okay, I won the war. I'm tired. I'll go home now. I sleep. Because the booking of that match alone, having each guy win the opposite of what you're going to think, and then and the finish, which I'll talk about it more. Like I said, it's on my list too.
That's why I'm trying not to get too in depth in it because I want to give you something to talk about.
The finish was so what it was that did anybody really win? Which is perfect booking.
Number 5, the second chamber match on my list.
Okay.
From 2009, Jericho, Mike Knox, John Cena, Kane, Rey Mysterio, and Kofi Kingston.
Except
that Kofi got ambushed and Edge took the spot.
Yeah. This is number what for you?
5.
Okay.
I mean, the reason that I put the chamber matches so low is because I feel like they deserved their own show, which they did eventually get and evolved into. I don't know if I ever really loved them at No Way Out.
Yeah.
You know, I get why they threw them there because it's a perfect way to do a contendership match to see who's going to get the other shot at Mania.
Which is fine.
But I just feel like
No, I get it. The argument we've always had: don't have the matches be gimmick on pay-per-view for gimmick's sake.
yeah,
Have the reason for them being involved because the storyline dictates it. There is no goddamn good reason we need to have 2 Hell in a Cell matches on one show each year.
yeah,
When we got to the very first Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, Orton Cena was damn ready for a Hell in a Cell match at that point. My God, wasn't ready for a Hell in a Cell match at that point because they'd done every other damn thing to each other anyway. But Punk Undertaker the same night? Like, no. Like, it was a decent little thing because of what happened the previous month with Punk and, Teddy Long screwing the Undertaker, which, yeah, but then put Teddy in the cell with Undertaker, not Punk, because Punk didn't do nothing except, benefit. Yeah, Chamber being there, it's like, okay.
Punk Taker in a cell would have been better suited after Percy's death.
Yes, because that was so visceral by the time we got to Mania that year between the two of them. But having to, okay, how are we going to get these people into the Chamber?
Yeah. It's like if you wanted to have one chamber match each year, like I said, to do contender for the other belt.
Right.
I can get with that.
Yeah.
But then having the second chamber match just because.
Yeah.
Even this year's chamber.
Yeah, I mean, granted.
Why do we need Austin Theory to defend the U.S. title in it?
Yeah. The women's match
makes sense.
100%.
You need to have a contender.
You got to earn that shit because Bianca is worth earning that shit.
Yeah.
Because she's been awesome.
She is the female Roman right now. She is straight up in God mode. Come Mania, I think she will have passed the year mark.
Yeah.
So I get that one, but why does Theory need to defend the U.S. title in it?
It's like,
except to give the whole, how can he survive with 5 other challengers?
Which is fine.
But we all know that he more than likely did survive because, like we've been saying for the better part of the last week, you can't make him look weak if he's going into a match with Cena at Mania.
You can't make the kid look weak, period, if he's going into Mania, especially after he's been Mrs. Void for the whole year. It's anyway, we're getting off track here. But this one, again, it's a contenders match.
And it was for the title.
It was for the title.
Cena lost the belt. That was the thing about both chambers this year. Is both belts were being defended. Edge lost the belt in the first match, then took Kofi out, took his place, and won the title in this match.
Yeah, and which made for a great promo the next night. I'm so good, I turned the WWE Championship to the World Championship. It's like, God damn, Adam, really? But he did. He did it.
I mean,
but it was so good.
Yeah.
Again,
the match was great.
Yes.
It's just, it didn't need to be a chamber match.
No. And when you really, and again, I don't mind the way it played out, which I'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those, doing the chamber match for chamber match's sake is what led us down this primrose path of having to have a chamber pay-per-view. It's like, no.
Number 4 was part 2. Rock Hogan 2.
Ooh. Yeah, this one, I don't have that on there, but I'll mention it.
I mean, Rock Hogan at Mania was very much akin to Once in a Lifetime. Except it did such great numbers that when they went back to Montreal, they did it again. And became twice in a lifetime. Much like Rock Cena the next year. But this was the blueprint of that. If Rock Hogan hadn't worked the way that it did, there would have probably been no Rock Cena.
And and you figure the way they told the story for this one very much threw back to the previous year.
Mm-hmm. And by this point, Rocky's full-blown heel.
Well, because of what happened.
He's full-blown Hollywood.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, when they met at the other Mania, he wasn't full blown heel yet.
No.
He didn't go full blown heel till after SummerSlam.
Yeah, but
by this point, Rocky is freaking neck deep in Hollywood Rock.
Oh yeah, he's such a prick.
Getting to hear that music again, this is like,
oh, I know, right? And
Hollywood Rock was one of the greatest things Dwayne ever did.
Oh, it was. And again,
it combined the best of Rocky Maivia with the Die Rocky Die and everything, and the best of the most electrifying man, the People's Champ.
Yep.
Took the best ingredients from both those chili pots and you threw them together to create Hollywood Rock.
Because the people didn't really want to boo him.
No,
because he was so goddamn good. But it's like, yeah, but you ragging on us and you're dogging Hulk. So yeah, screw you, dude, for now at least. But we still love you, and please come back when you're not being a dick no more.
It was so good. And then you got the whole Sylvain Grenier.
Oh my God, right?
As the referee.
Yeah.
Which, then led into him coming onto the main roster full time, La Resistance.
Yeah. Which again, I think La Resistance, probably justifiably, the people involved get a little bit shit on. Yeah. And then again,
I thought Sylvain and Renee were a great team.
Yeah.
Rob Conway was what he was, I get his involvement. But the initial outing of Sylvain and Renee, I liked them.
I did like them. When you look back at the three of them, looking back from right now, Sylvain, there was so much potential in that kid. Yes, I'm saying kid because he's way younger than either one of us.
Well, freaking Renee was like 19
when they became champions. But Renee's kind of proven to be a little bit of a screw loose here the last few years with interviews and whatnot. So maybe his head never really was in the right place, which is why it didn't go farther than it probably could have.
Maybe.
And Rob Conway took chicken shit out of being released by WWE, and in an era of the NWA that was ran by boy, became a two-time world champion. So good on him for it, because the NWA era that Rob Conway was champion was what it was. But again, he's the only one of three that been world champion outside of WWE. But this one, like you said, I talk about 01 being a solid everything hit show. 03, you had three big things. Mm-hmm. You had this, you had the return of Steve Austin officially on camera. And then you had Triple H Steiner, which, as bad as that was at the Rumble, No Way Out didn't necessarily make up for it because it was what it was. But at least you had the entirety of Evolution, and you had Steiner going down decisively at the hands of Evolution. Granted, didn't do Scotty any favors.
That was the one thing that I relearned going back and watching these, because I had forgotten that the whole Triple H Steiner feud is essentially what brought Evolution into being.
Yep. The other cool thing from 03, and this is not anything to do with the topic or anything, but it was because of that show that Evanescence came into my trajectory, because that song was the theme for the pay-per-view and for the Steiner match with Triple H in particular, so much so that when I went to Oregon that summer to house it for my aunt and uncle, and if you Oregon folk know what I'm talking about, Fred Meyer at the street from the house, going to Fred Meyer, Amy Lee's face everywhere because that CD had just come out. It's like, oh, I know what I'm buying today. And that was because of WWE. So Amy Lee, you might want to go kiss the McMahon Helmsley booty on that one, because that was the reason I bought that damn thing. But again, solid show. And again, Hogan Rock. Let's go to Montreal for the babyface version 3.56. Because that's what WWE does in Montreal.
I'm calling an audible here.
Okay.
I'm gonna flip my 2 and 3 around
because
I'm looking at it and I'm like, I can't justify that.
Oh, okay.
So number 3 for me, Benoit versus Booker T for the United States Championship.
I forgot that was a No Way Out match. Good on you, brother. I forgot about that.
I was going to have that at my number 2, but the more I'm looking at my list, I'm like, I can't justify putting that over my other match. So,
okay. All right. But still, Benoit Booker's a solid.
I mean, you had just come out of the Best of 7 series.
Right.
That Randy Orton won the United States title for Booker T in because Booker T got injured.
Yeah.
And then you got Booker milking the injury.
Right.
As a good heel do.
That's right.
Right, Cowboy Bob? You got Booker T milking that injury to the point where Benoit just was over it.
Oh, yeah.
And then, much like their WCW classics, they just picked up what they did in 97, 98 for WCW, and they dropped it
Oh, yeah.
in WWF.
Absolutely.
And it was magic. You know, every now and again, you get those guys that every time they lock up, it's pure magic.
Yeah. Yep.
And it doesn't matter how many times they fought, how many years have passed, where their heads are, because you figure what would happen, you know, about a year or so after this match, they still had that magic.
That'll be our next show. The guys that do that all the time. That's what makes good rivalries and feuds. Plug for 2 weeks from now. You know, but yeah, again, Benoit and Booker. If you can find a bad match between the two of them, it's because one of them was hurt.
Yeah,
that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Same with Booker and Scotty. If
Yeah,
you want to get real, like you go back to especially the Harlem Heat Steiner brothers shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But it's the same thing with Booker and Scotty. And I'm not Scotty's biggest fan, but even after he got roided out and jacked up and turned into the big bad booty daddy, it was hard pressed to find a bad match between Booker and Scott because they had the years of experience wrestling each other when Scott was a lot leaner.
I would say their weakest outing, and it was more circumstantial than the fact it was two of them, was the last Nitro.
Yeah,
because Scotty was pissed.
Yeah,
he was just not. He was over being. Well, I'm not. You know, and he didn't check out because he still gave Booker a hell of a. Here's your fourth title.
Yeah. It was like Flair and Steen that night. It's like those two had no business being in the ring.
Absolutely not.
But despite that fact, they still went out there and they tried.
And it was still magical because of what it was.
Exactly.
Booker and Scotty that last Nitro, it was like, this is going to be how we continue on after we shut down. And Scott wasn't willing to sign. But he still went out there and gave Booker
and then
his
he
moment.
did anyways.
And a whole year, almost 2 years later, to be fair. Hey, you know what? Scotty felt he was worth more. And honestly, at that point, he was.
Yeah, that's fair.
So imagine him being part of the invasion. As bad as it was, him being part of that as the leading world champion.
Or even as Booker's lieutenant. Booker and Scotty leading the forces.
Just think about if
half of Harlem Heat and half of the Steiner brothers leading the invasion against the WWE.
And think if Hunter stays healthy and you've got Scotty versus Hunter earlier when both of them are in better mindsets, Jesus Christ. Right? Anyway, we're tangent, but
so it's
butterfly effect. We talked about it at the start of the show. But Booker and Benoit here, you know, again, people will think of Benoit how they think of Benoit. We can't help that. It is what it is at this point. And
but you really, and I'm going to get hate comments for this, but y'all really need to start trying to separate the in-ring performer from the man that committed those heinous acts over that 72-hour span. You got to try.
Yeah.
Because it's horrible to erase the legacy.
Yeah.
Because of 3 days.
I tend to go with Paul Heyman's view on Benoit because he was on I think Outside the Ropes, one of the many times he's done that show. You know, in ring, top 5 all time, was going to be ECW champion more than once. He was going to book him as ECW champion in the original ECW. Was going to be ECW champion the weekend he died.
Yeah,
WWE. So performer, you know, top 10 all time. Outside the ring, whatever mindset, whatever thing you want, he had a choice. Nancy and Daniel did. Fuck him. That's exactly what Paul said to the crowd. And you know what? He's absolutely right.
Exactly.
So, but
that's not what we're here for.
No, this match shows why that should be the mindset.
Exactly.
Because these two guys, 8 years prior, had completely tore the house down WCW in an era that neither one of them had any goddamn business doing that.
Yeah. Because that era was for
life, or, you know, wearing red and black going too sweet. Because that,
or they had 2 words for you. Who's next?
Right. in WCW, and these two guys over the television title.
Yeah, not even the United States title,
which is in the case here.
Yeah, this time it was for the U.S. title.
Yeah,
but they were doing that shit for the TV title.
Yeah, which Arn Anderson talks about that being his world title. Booker and Benoit made that a thing for real in 1998 when Arn was already retired. These guys could go, and just so glad you brought that up. And I'm interested now that you moved it down from number 2, and it was going to be number 2, is number 3. What's number 2 if it just now, right now in this moment, surpassed Benoit and Booker?
Hell in a Cell, Cactus, and Triple H.
I mean, that's fair. That's a fair trade. That's a fair trade.
Like I said, it's like
how can you
as much as I love Hell in a Cell, like I'm sitting there and I'm watching the shows back and I'm like, man, I just love this Booker Benoit match more because of how much I loved Benoit, how much I loved Booker, and how much at the time that Hell in a Cell happened, I was so anti-Hunter.
Right.
But much like we talked in our meetings beforehand about being objective instead of subjective.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here looking at my list. I'm like, I can't put this above Hell in a Cell.
No.
My number one will still be my number one, will still be my number one.
Okay, good.
I'll die on that hill with a stake of holly through my heart, as we say during the holidays.
Yes.
But I could not justify putting Benoit Booker above Hell in a Cell.
No.
So number 2, like we said, is Hell in a Cell, Cactus, and Trips. And man,
on my list too, so I'll talk about it more as well. But wow.
It just lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
It really was. There's something about the way Paul Levesque would react to Cactus Jack.
Yeah.
That made you believe he was going to die.
Yeah. It wasn't about championship. It was about him losing his damn life.
He did it in 97.
Yep.
And he did it again in 2000.
Yeah. When you, again, I'll talk more
Cactus,
about it. But
Cactus is just one of those guys that has that legacy from ECW, WCW, Japan, worldwide. When he came to WWF, as much as we love Mick, whether he was Dude, and especially his later Mankind years, maybe not when he first debuted as Mankind, but the later Mankind years, Mick evolved into a Muppet.
He did.
But when he would put on the flannel and that Wanted shirt, you could see him go to a dark place. Almost as if he had sat in a room watching his own King Dewey promo on loop.
Yeah.
To get back to that mindset. And if you've never seen the King Dewey promo, pause, go to the network, look it up. This is where you pause. Okay, so now that you've watched it,
welcome back. Yeah.
You can understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I know you know.
Yeah.
But the newer fans that have found our show may not have seen that promo before and understand its epicness.
Yes.
And they need to.
They do.
They need to understand that Mick Foley wasn't always the guy that pulled a sock out of his tidy whities.
Yes.
And screamed, "Have a nice day."
Yeah. Even.
And by the way, for those of you that don't know, Dewey was his son.
Yeah.
That's who he's talking about in the promo.
Yeah.
The fans,
not The Rock,
wanted to cane Foley's son.
3-year-old son at the time. ECW fans were a whole other breed, folks. Tell you what, in 95.
So when Cactus would surface in the WWF, you had to make it mean something, because just a year and a half prior, Mick was that guy pulling a sock out of his tidy whities.
Yep.
Doing rockin' sock.
Yeah.
So why should I believe that you're going to be a threat to me? Because I'm not that guy now.
Yeah.
I'm Cactus.
Not even a year before. You think about how far Mick Foley had fallen to the point where he was ready to retire at the 99 Survivor Series. And had Steve Austin's neck not been what it was, he would have. But again, I'll talk more about it later because on my list, spoiler alert, both times Cactus Jack legitimately resurfaced on the WWF stage was because of Triple H. And Triple H's reaction, like you said, made everything. Think about that match at the Garden where the three faces of Holy were on screen, and we see Cactus come out from behind Mankind and Dude. Hunter's in the ring losing his goddamn mind, telling the referee, nope, not going to do it. But
wouldn't be prudent
at this
juncture.
Or any juncture in 97, because Hunter was losing his damn mind before he even joined DX. But then 2000 was the big sell, and it's rated very well. I'm not gonna say it's underrated because people still talk about that to this day, but I will always oversell that shit because it was so good.
Absolutely.
All right, so now you've already moved Booker Benoit down from where it was. As you watched and made the list, you still moved it down. But if Cactus and Hunter was your solid number 3 before, and you had a number 2, what could have possibly been better?
You should know the answer to it because it's the match that I messaged you about when it was happening. Brock and Eddie.
Okay.
There's no better No Way Out match in history for me than Brock and Eddie.
That's fair.
I mean, you can call it a sentimental favorite.
Oh, yeah.
But you just think about the journey to that moment.
Absolutely.
And then you think about how 4 years later, I'm standing in that building, looking where the ring would have been, and I get goosebumps. There's no matches happening. There's no ring in the building. It is an empty arena.
Yeah.
But you get the goosebumps just looking down there, standing in the stairwell.
Yeah.
That's when you know. Like Enchanted, that's how you know.
That's how we know. That's how you know you love this.
If you can get goosebumps just being in the building with nothing happening in front of you, you know it's a moment.
And you know I know now after my summer a couple years ago. So you know I know. It is
a story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, if I talk more, I'm probably going to cry. And we've already gone almost an hour just on my list. So, end of story.
So based on that, then let's take a minute breather.
Yes.
Let's do our thing.
Let's take a look at the other watch along events that are going to be coming up here on the multiverse of media as we push towards WrestleMania and beyond.
Man, I've said it a lot already in the first half of this quarter, but man, we busy as hell, we ain't done yet. We ain't even close.
And they keep adding more shit.
Yeah, y'all need to stop that shit. Like, granted, it makes it easy for you to make the commercial.
I mean,
just keep on going, but you know.
I fear for Noah.
Right?
That is my worry. I'm not worried about
No.
I'm not worried about you.
No.
I'm not worried about James or Statboy. I'm worried for Noah because he has to call everything.
Yeah.
Noah Foster, the simple man with the spectacular voices, we have dubbed him here on the Multiverse of Media.
Yes.
Is calling at least one event per week. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for Mania.
Yeah, that's just Mania week. Then you've got everything before. Yeah.
And there's 2 double features because Friday is Supercard plus the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And Saturday is Stand and Deliver in night 1.
Well, luckily,
that's assuming that nothing else gets added as of this taping.
well, luckily,
At this point, I'm almost like, bro, do you just want to call Dynamite the night before and make a Wednesday live call too? Like, for real.
luckily, Stand and Deliver is not directly before me. There's going to be a brief little blip in time that he can go take a leak ski, go get a snack, some shit,
Something.
go boo boo in the potty or something. But
But
goddamn,
I feel for Noah because he is so passionate. And
yes,
and who would have thought a year ago when he started calling this stuff
right?
that he would have regained his passion
Yeah.
for the WWE to the point that he has.
To the point of last week watching NXT and going, it's not bad. I went, the hell was that tweet I saw? So
I mean,
good
a
on
year
him.
ago, he was willing to flush anything that wasn't the big four down the toilet.
oh, absolutely.
James had, which is how I came into doing commentary.
I mean,
in the
that's
first
fair.
place.
That's fair.
But ever since the removal of Vince,
Yeah.
and the appointing of Hunter,
Yeah.
it's been slow,
Yeah.
but it's been
It's
a
happened.
steady incline
Yep.
to the point where we've got Noah back on board with the E,
Yeah.
and he is looking forward to doing this shit.
Yeah. And then
Some of it, and I'm going to go ahead and Arn Anderson here to my own horn, but toot. Some of it could be the passion that I bring to it rubbing off on him.
Yeah.
Because he said to me before more than once about how I bring this energy to the events,
You do.
to these WWE events that he needed.
Well, right.
You know, no disrespect to James, he didn't bring that energy because it almost kind of felt like I'm here.
Yeah, right. And for him,
But-
justifiably so.
But I think the energy I bring to it,
Right.
compounded with the improvement in the product,
Yes. I was going to
has
say.
really been what's gotten him on board. And like I said, though, who would have thought that a year ago he'd be this excited for a B pay-per-view?
And he was.
He was excited for Vengeance Day. He was excited for Chamber. That says volumes
Yeah.
about where the E is today. But we're not talking about today.
Well, no, but to stay on that vein for just a second, you coming back into the fandom, I wouldn't have projected a year and a half, 2 years ago, to be fair. Granted, you were coming back to do dads. You were talking about doing Renegade wrestling, which, again, there's so much going on in Renegades reviews. There's so much going on open mic night, which God bless you for taking the reins of that when I'm gone on a Saturday. Holy fuck. You being a fan, period, again. When you left, you were done. And you know what? In 14, justifiably so. The network launch was what it was, but the current product was also what it was at that point. So
I'm gonna say it like this, and it really took what you discussed both on Stat Boy last week and on Talk Wrestling, as brief as it was last week, to really make it sink in my head. But a lot of what has maintained my fandom over these last 52 weeks, the bloodline.
yeah, exactly.
When I came in, didn't like it. Didn't like the angle, didn't like the story, was over Roman. Please, somebody, by God, take the title off him. A couple months in, rewatching things, seeing where the story was going. I've said it before, I began acknowledging him.
Believer, man. Yep.
And I think a lot of it had to do with the placement of Sammy in the story because he was our buddy.
Yeah.
Roman, I was over.
Right.
Jimmy, Jay, whichever it was that had the drug alcohol busts over them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here they are getting handed all this stuff.
Well, right, of course. And that was infuriating.
And pissed me off beyond belief.
Well, yeah.
But then Sammy gets added to the mix.
Yeah. Yep.
A guy that we've seen over the years.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of these things just doesn't belong here.
But it does.
I was just going to say, but he fits so good.
Yeah.
It was the missing piece of the puzzle.
it's one of those things, dude. When I went to, it's so funny. Dad and I went to Vegas in 2021 to see SummerSlam. That was the whole reason we went. And I still wasn't a believer in the Roman thing then. I went for John, looking good, right? And I watched him get his ass beat at SummerSlam. And then by Brock. Again. God damn you, Lesnar. Anyway, muscle memories are what they are, and they suck a big one. But tribute to the troops. Freaking throwaway show, SmackDown tribute to the troops. Same entrance, same person, smaller venue, felt like the same amount of energy. I've been a believer for over a year now. I just saw you get the gooses right now. I just saw how to go over your spine right now. You just get it right now. It happens. Roman does that.
Yeah.
And goddamn, if our buddy being involved didn't amplify it exponentially. Yeah. And however I feel about Kevin then, now, forever, whatever, together, whatever the hell Vince's tagline is, him being part of it definitely was a factor. Yeah. And just, it's been so cool. And whatever happens in the next, less than 5 weeks till I'm at the stadium. I just had that moment right now in my head. Holy fuck, I'm going back to WrestleMania again. Anyway. Yeah. Noah, God bless Noah for calling all this stuff. Not just the week of Mania.
But everything else.
Figure this week, Friday, and then another one, 2 Impact shows, pay-per-view, premium events, whatever you want to call them. Revolution after my birthday. Dude, we would not be able to sustain these watch-alongs as awesome as they've been without Noah Foster. God bless him.
And without you out there,
please,
continue to show us the love and the support and the super chats.
To the fact that pretty much 1 month from today will be the second payout we've had this quarter. Just this quarter.
And that's thanks to you.
That's thanks to everybody watching, and we appreciate it. So I'm going to try to follow that. God help me.
I was going to say, let me go back to the line I was going to use, but we're not talking about the now.
Yes.
We're talking about the past.
Yes.
Meacham, what are your top 10 No Way Out matches of all time?
So of the ones you mentioned,
yes,
we share 1, 2, 4 matches.
Okay. So less than half.
2 of them, well, one of them definitely in the same place. One of them, actually, they're both in the same place, the same spot, the ones we share. But one of them we share only because I copped out a little bit.
Okay.
So, and both.
I always got to give him the stink eye when he says that he copped out, because these lists are so much harder for me, and I don't take a cop out.
But to be fair, the cop out I did take this month, you will understand why. And it's not really a cop out. I'm calling it a cop out because I'm self-depreciating, to be fair.
All right.
And both the ones we share in the same spot are in my top 5.
Okay.
So there you go. Number 10 is from 2002. No, it's not Jericho and Austin because NWO was involved. Because goddamn it, no. But it was a WrestleMania implication match for sure. And it involved the McMahon family heavily. With Stephanie refereeing for the number 1 contender spot at WrestleMania, Triple H and Kurt Angle.
That was in contention. Definitely an honorable mention for me. One of the ones I had a graphic saved and just didn't make the final cut.
Well,
so I'll send you that image then so you can just have it already.
Oh, no. I already have mine saved ready to go.
Here we go.
Oh, no.
Meacham with his fancy stuff.
It's not fancy stuff. It's just there were so many variations on this graphic out there because they couldn't decide if they wanted to keep the one they used on TV with Stephanie in the Plain Jane referee shirt, or if they wanted to amplify it out there with her amplifications. And it's like, no, y'all. It was a Plain Jane Stephanie shirt in the graphic. It's just she came out there not so Plain Jane because, goddamn, the McMahons were out for display. No more Helmsleys, but, it's all good. And she told Finkel as much. No more Helmsleys. Goddamn, if we're going to be like that about it. You put Triple H and Kurt Angle in a one-on-one match, you're good.
Yeah, pretty much.
You involve the drama of Triple H versus Stephanie.
Even better.
With Angle involved, you're even better than that. So let's just give the people something to chew on for a few minutes here because, goddamn it, these 3 are golden together.
Give the people what they want.
And they were, well, no, because they were Batista screaming Triple H for no particular reason. No, Batista, that's bad Batista.
Some people power.
I will take Dave being in a Hall of Fame by his goddamn self if I get to go this year over dealing with Johnny Ace's stupid ass anymore. I said it what I said in front of the world right here and now. Don't edit that fucking shit out either. All right. Now, and fuck you, Johnny. Anyway, now.
Is John Laurinaitis Hall of Fame worthy?
If the
objective, not subjective.
Even objective, no. Honest to God. No. But before you get all side-eye at me.
No, sir. I was just curious.
Okay. I was going to say, the dynamic dudes. That's freaking Razzle Award worthy, not Hall of Fame, to be fair. Freaking wrestle crap at best.
I mean, Coco Beware, Drew Carey, John Laurinaitis, same wing.
Coco Beware was a very popular character in the 80s and, arguably helped drive the Pile Driver album sales. Drew Carey at least is funny and decent to talk to on occasion. Price is Right host, not so much. Bob Barker's being a goddamn Hall of Fame, by the way, as a WWE celebrity inductee because his guest spot on Raw was tremendous. Where the fuck was it? Oh, yeah. Hunter,
like it's only number 10. How'd you forget?
Hunter and Angle. Okay. Again, you put Hunter and Angle and Stephanie in any sort of storyline together, however you weave the three of them together, let's just serve up the giant buffet of good. Because they were always awesome together from the moment they first connected in 2000 all the way through. And even when they weren't on the same brand together. In fact, in 2003, Triple H was in his reign of terror. Stephanie was the GM. Kurt Angle was on SmackDown. Whenever they had the joint shows, it's like, this far, they were both champions going to WrestleMania that year. And it was awesome. Because you see them at the press conference, they go, oh, there's the spark. I see the thing. They did the thing because they were just so cute together. It was ridiculous. But this one was guttural. It was visceral because it was the divorce and it was the Hunter getting his shot at the championship after being injured for so long.
The fake pregnancy
thing. And dude, how many goddamn people are involved in this shit? You've got the three of them. You've got Linda coming out of freaking left field.
For real. Showing Hunter the videotape to prove that the doctor was an actor.
Not even that. Linda sends the damn tape to Flair, who gives it to Arn, who has Linda on the phone at the same time. It's like, God damn, how many people are going to dine this bitch out already? And it's her own daughter. Like, Flair and Arn give a fuck. But damn, Linda up in the shit. Like
her baby girl.
Her baby dad totally sold her baby girl down the river because she knew how evil Vince and Stephanie was. And it's like, damn, y'all, really? Oh. And then Shane, to his credit, did his little going away speech at Survivor Series and stayed away for over a year. Stephanie, the character, could not so much. And it made for such a hot, visceral moment, like I said. Did they do away with the next night on Raw? Of course they did, because you've got to have Hunter in main event because that was the story. Yeah. Triple H coming back after 8 months off and tearing his goddamn leg off the 5 months off his leg, right on almost in front of us, because I was at the show the next night at SmackDown where we found out what happened to Hunter. But man, how do you not have that story? And then yes, Angle had the match with Kane at Mania. It was what it was. But this match, there was no way out for Hunter. He was screwed. He was totally screwed because he had his soon-to-be ex-wife against one of his most hated rivals with Vince backing the other side. There was nothing Hunter could do there except just try. Number 9 goes back to that legendary 2001 show we talked about. Mm-hmm. And also involves Stephanie McMahon.
There we go.
Versus Trish Stratus.
Yeah.
Now,
I know you and your Trish love.
It's not even about my love of Trish and my love of Stephanie. It's about the fact that neither one of them had any sort of business having this good a match on pay-per-view.
Especially at that point.
Especially at this point. Now, Trish later, my God, greatest women's champion of all time, arguably. Stephanie, to her goddamn credit, became a hell of a ring competitor later on, especially during the Authority era. Mm-hmm. But neither one of them had any sort of business having the match they did on this card. Let's not forget a stacked card. And
with the stacked roster of talent as they had, this match really on the surface is like, why the fuck is this here?
Yeah. But the emotion was so real. You figure Linda McMahon had been driven into legitimate insanity in storyline where she was a freaking comatose, wheelchair-ridden patient in a sanitarium. And Vince is just flaunting his goodies on the air there with Trish. And even Stephanie, who is a nasty, disgusting heel.
Brutal bottom feeding
trash bag. I'm going to not avoid.
You got to do the stick. Hashtag stick to the stick, right, Walter?
I am not Walter Cruz, and I never did like what Jericho called for that. Even when I was a fan back then, it was, oh, God, I just didn't know. But even she was like, the fuck, Dad? Really? Because, and again, alpha female, alpha species.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm the bitch in the family. So that's where it was. It was just enough legitimate storyline, yes, but emotion that you didn't take your bathroom break in this match because you wanted to see how it played out. And
it's like a train wreck.
Well, it could have been, but instead they had a goddamn good fight.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like going in. It's like the train wreck. It's like you don't want to look, but you can't look away.
Yeah.
And then you look, and you're like, God damn, that was way better than I gave it credit for.
Right?
Being. It should have been.
And then the one thing that,
and you know what? I think they knew it had to be.
Well, right.
I think they knew it had to be. Like, we're taking up real estate.
Yeah.
On
this card. Yeah.
Going into WrestleMania with the roster we have.
Yep.
If y'all fail, don't look at me for a chance anytime soon.
No, neither, because Trish always said she was so nervous throughout this whole thing. She's literally working with McMahon's every week.
Mm-hmm.
My nerves were afraid of being in the McMahon's as it is, but that's a whole other reason. Right, Johnny? Dick. Anyway. This is a fuck Johnny A show up here at the end of the show. You know, whatever. It's all right. I tried.
Let's just make sure in 2 weeks we leave it alone. Make like Elsa and let it go. Because it'll have been like 3 weeks removed by then. Okay, fine. You should be over it by then.
I should be, but I won't. Anyway. But
this is a grudge he's gonna carry forever.
And I tried. You was on the phone with me when I told you I was trying. And I was not allowed.
You talked over my little shout out to my daughter. That was for her. That forever.
I apologize if you're watching, Natalie. I'm sorry, but my visceral hate for Johnny Ace cannot be ignored, even for a shout out from my niece.
And sweetheart, I know you've gotten into wrestling. Google John Laurinaitis. Look up his history. You might understand why Uncle Jeff hates him so much. Continue.
And no, don't count his familial history because his family's all friggin' awesome. He's just a grade A douchebag. All right, now. Oh, yeah, sure, Stephanie. Okay, so that's
We've gotten so far off the rails because it's only your second.
I know, Jesus. Again, Trish and Stephanie.
You're just making this editing so hard on me, aren't you? You're trying.
No, leave it. Leave it in. Fuck it. I don't care. Trish and Stephanie didn't have no business having a match the way they did, but they also really had no choice because they had to deliver on a show like this, and they did. The Regal thing at the end, it was what it was, and the next night especially, it was kind of like, okay, the payoff of Mania did work out in the long run with Linda and Trish and everything, but it's like, man, everything after this match in the Road 2 is kind of like, yeah, okay, it's a lot of convoluted turns, but this match was good. Number 8, also from 2001. Also surprised you didn't mention this one. Granted, I'm not a big fan of triple threats or fatal four-ways or the like, but this four-way was tremendous. Jericho defending against Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, and our boy X-Pac. Man,
it was good. It didn't make honorable mention territory for me. I didn't save the graphic or nothing, but it was good though.
Yeah, it's one of those.
At the end of the day, I think what killed it for me, and this isn't intended to be a slight.
Okay.
X-Pac sticks out like a sore thumb.
Oh, he really does. He does. And I'm not, again, I'm not going to dig on Sean, but you remember, at this stage of the game, Eddie's already getting to the point where he's starting to check out, and he'd be gone for a year after this, or after WrestleMania. Or close to it, I should say. Remember, for the summer. Sean's neck was just fucked up so bad at this point. He was wrestling up all the time. So the two of them were just not in the place they could have been. But the Chris's were coming off a Rumble ladder match, which just nearly stole the goddamn show from the Rumble itself. It really did. So, yeah, Eddie and X-Pac being there was just so we didn't have to have another reason to give only Benoit and Jericho a match, which again, I don't mind ever having that, 12 times a year, whatever.
Yeah.
But, got to get right in their spot.
Because seriously, they could have had a match at every pay-per-view, and every one of them would have been different.
Yep. You figure Benoit was healthy-ish until the summer of that year. Let him run with it. But then we don't get Benoit Angle WrestleMania or Jericho Regal, which was so good too. But
Benoit Austin and freaking
Edmonton,
Canada.
which again was what it was, but that was ultimately the final blow to Benoit's neck. But this little again, match quality, I think maybe I could argue that Trish Stephanie and the Angle match with Hunter could have been a little higher than this one, but I think the quality of the people involved is what made it so.
That's fair.
Number 8. Number 7 is 2009. I'm very surprised you didn't mention this one. I'm not going to lie.
I have a feeling this is going to be the recurring theme throughout this list. I'm surprised you didn't mention this one.
Well, because my next 3 are from 2009, all of them.
Okay,
but this one is the one-on-one match: Shane McMahon versus Randy Orton.
Again, it was good. I was over the McMahons in the main storyline at that point.
That's fair.
I get why Shane was there, but much as I had begun checking out as far as Cena being shoved down the throat,
right?
The McMahon family being shoved down the throat, and every time a McMahon got taken out by somebody, here had to come the army to try to defend them.
Yeah.
Leading up to final boss Shane, because we know he's going to do the crazy shit.
Yeah. And then Orton.
Right, Kane?
Right.
Right
Angle, right everybody else.
It just
yeah. But again,
I was over it at that point. It became too predictable. You attack a McMahon, the next week it's going to be another one. Next week it's going to be another one.
Right.
Here comes final boss Shane. Set up the pay-per-view.
But again, the McMahons were on TV a lot in 09. You figure Stephanie and Shane were in charge substantially.
Yes.
Vince had returned from his limo, blowing his damn ass up. Again. It was what it was, but it led to what should have been a solid championship main event between Hunter and Orton. It didn't because of the chains they put on that match.
Here's my other issue with this match.
Okay.
Whether it is a legitimate condition or a fictitious condition, the fact that they put an illness as the central point of this feud
with Randy, that was bad.
Especially being someone who does have a invisible mental disorder. I was just like, really? This is how we're going to justify his rage and his snapping?
Yeah, that was
by
bad.
Creating a medical condition?
Yeah, that wasn't acceptable. I agree with that. I honestly forgot about that.
As huge of an Orton fan as I am,
right?
I was like, really? That's how we're going to do this?
I actually forgot about that until I was watching these matches, and then I forgot again until you mentioned it right now. So I totally get that.
EID or whatever it was.
Yeah. It's one of those. But again, objectively, the story was very raw and very emotional, and
it could have been still without that element.
I agree. But when you go back and look back at history, it was when we finally got the company to go, okay, Hunter and Steph together for real. We're gonna stop bullshitting y'all, because that moment when Orton drops Stephanie after this, and Hunter runs down there and just his face gets redder than this, just seething at Orton. It's like, we wanted this for 6 years. Now we got it. Let's see where they go with it. And to their discredit, the media match was bullshit with him and Hunter, with Orton rather. But the overall tone of the feud with Hunter and Orton, with DX and Legacy, it was all born out of this. Again, the McMahons being on TV, We talk about it. We talk about it when we're watching the Laurinaitis nonsense. Yeah, I said nonsense. That's what I said. I kept my mouth clean. I was a good boy. You fucker. The McMahons on TV coming back was great. The proliferation of them every single solitary week, too much. Yeah. Which is what hindered this entire thing with Orton. Match itself at No Way Out could have been better, could have been a lot worse. But I think that the moment was great. Yeah. That's why it's on there.
Okay.
All right. Number 5 and number 6 are the tie, but I didn't put both of them in one spot. I did make number 6 a separate listing.
Okay.
But they still do run neck and neck. And they're both from 09.
The two chamber matches.
The two chamber matches, because the story was so good. Edge comes into the first chamber, the WWE champion. He's in there to start the thing with Rey Mysterio, and he loses.
Yeah.
In the opening, before anybody else out of their pockets.
Yeah. In the first 5 minutes, he was pinned.
To the point of Cena was in the other one.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Because Cena was the champion.
Cena was the world champion. To the point of everybody else in their pods going, the fuck? What happened? What happened was,
the good thing about that,
right,
is that we always wondered what would happen if somebody got eliminated before the pod opened.
Yeah.
We never expected it to be the defending champion.
Right? Yeah.
Like, ever since the chamber became a thing at Survivor Series 02, we always wondered what would happen if someone got beat before the pod opened. And here it happened.
Yeah. And it was
But it wasn't just
anybody
that got beat. It was the champ.
Yep.
So the entire rest of the half hour, we got a new champion.
We got a new champion.
But who?
But wait, there was more.
Yes.
Because poor Kofi. Kofi got ratted. Kofi got screwed. That was so bad. Again,
even though he was just a little over a year old, this is what began the turn on Kofi for Dylan.
That's right.
Edge taking him out.
Well, to be fair, Edge was a favorite of his mom and I too. I mean, even in 09. But it was, and again, Triple H winning the championship. And again, what could have been? Orton wins his match with Shane. Triple H wins the chamber. They're going into Mania. Could have been built a lot better. Or it was built tremendously, but the payoff was what it was. But you figure, what's going to happen now at the World Championship? Because, figure Cena ain't going to lose a chamber match because John fucking Cena.
Super Cena.
Super. And then Edge is like, friggin' wrench in the works, and you're sitting there going, huh. All right. And then he wins, and it's like, motherfucker did it again. The ultimate opportunity strikes again. I think it's Cole even said in the commentary.
Which makes you wonder about Kofi.
Right? It's like
butterfly effect. If Kofi hadn't been taken out, that was Edge's spot. Could Kofi have been the one to win the title?
Yeah. And again,
we know he wouldn't have. The story was written the way it was. But it makes you scratch your head. Like, if Kofi's spot is who won, that's a huge claim of contention for Kofi Kingston.
Yeah.
And I don't even think they ever played into that. It's like
they did briefly on TV.
It's like Kofi's spot won. You took my victory, fucker.
I think it was a brief little blip because you remember Edge won the world title and then lost it to Cena at Mania in the Triple Threat with Big Show. Which
was stupid.
Agreed. I think in the run-up between No Way Out and Mania, they had a brief little thing with Kofi. It's like, dude, you did me wrong. And they had a match and Edge won because Edge won.
Kofi should have resurrected that when he won the title and had Kofi Mania. It's like, he should have brought that up. That would have made it even more guttural.
Yeah, I don't remember them doing that. That's fair. That's a good point. But again, the story of the night, as great as a lot of that stuff was on that show, was Edge just finding a goddamn way again, man. It's like, son of a bitch. But again, that's what made the evolution of the character from 05 going into 06 just so good, because he found a way to not only survive, but come out smelling like roses with a big giant thing of gold around his waist every single fucking time.
Not just survive, thrive.
He did. He was the ultimate opportunist. There was a reason he was the perfect first Mr. Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
And 2-time at that. So, number 4 is the onion cutting moment. So we'll get to that really quick. Eddie and Brock in 2004. And I just said Eddie Brock, and I did. Sorry, Spidey. Eddie Guerrero versus Brock Lesnar in 2004. If you know, you know, kids. I mean, come on. We're Marvel folks. It's all good. Got a company show a little bit here. Although Eddie Brock in MCU is, I think, a lot better character than Topher Grace. So I'll respect the Topher. Kind of. Yeah. Anyway. You talk about the moment being in the Cow Palace and being there and looking down from that. I know we didn't have any pictures from when you did it, but man, this moment, standing in the middle of that place and looking up and thinking about Hogan and Sting and Hogan and Piper the year before, match quality was what it was for Hogan and Roddy. I'm not even going to try to bullshit y'all. But then you think back a few years after that and the moment for Eddie. Oh, fuck, here we go. Keep the picture up for a few minutes. Because God, I'm a ball and jackass. I'll take it down. Okay. Just thinking about the fact that it was there right where I was standing, that Eddie Guerrero found his redemption, that Eddie Guerrero had overcome so much adversity and so much crap in his life and was the WWE heavyweight champion of the world. It was just so freaking awesome that it happened for him. And the fact that I was able to be in that arena and just feel it, knowing that I would never get to meet Eddie and then tell him in person, getting to tell Vicky was so awesome for us enough. I mean, I'm not even going to downplay the importance of that. Telling Shaw on the cruise how much Eddie meant to both of us. It was so amazing. But that moment of just this moment right here, standing and looking up at the seats and looking at that arena going, there is so much goddamn history in this place. And Eddie at No Way Out it's happening right now in the moment. Eddie winning the championship at the Cow Palace, for me as a fan, now looking back, was bigger than either time Hogan was in the ring as part of the NWO. And I wore my NWO shirt to that damn visit. It's in his pictures. But Eddie was so much bigger because it shouldn't have happened. It was never supposed to happen. And he beat Brock Lesnar at that. Going into WrestleMania.
Granted, some shenanigans.
And I'm not even going to try to understate Bill's involvement because, with all respect to storyline and how I feel about Goldberg, not that spear, we don't have any champion. So, thank you, Bill, for that brief moment. You weren't a fuckhead. We appreciate you.
Rocking your Santa's sleigh shirt.
Fair. And again,
because he was filming that.
I know. Which, again, I watched it and I enjoyed it. God help me, but I did. Thank you, Bill. And thank you, Eddie, for that moment. And thank you to the Cow Palace for the moment of being able to be in there and get the goosies then and now and definitely forever. Together, yes. All right. Number 3 was also the final one where I go, really? Not on your list? 2006. World champion Kurt Angle, Undertaker. And again, you put these two guys together, comedic or in-ring par excellence, you're going to get gold. Survivor Series 2000 was what it was with the brother thing. Yeah, But by the same token, Fully Loaded 2000, that was Kurt Angle's, all right, this dude's ready. Because he was already king of the ring, already the first labeled Eurocontinental champion, not counting D'Lo and Jeff.
That's JEFF JARRETT. Ain't I great?
That's right.
And yes, Mikey T, he was a horseman.
That's right. And a leader of the NWO.
That's right.
And a leader of the Bullet Club. Because goddamn it. By the way, side note, last week, I'm going to go off on a minor tangent. I promise. Last one for the day, hopefully. Conan. So nobody with the nationality of non-Chicano can do a frog splash. How about you tell D'Lo Brown and Rob Van Dam and Montez Ford that? You dumb, insignificant asshole.
Moving right along.
Move right along. I saw the Twitter like, really, Conan? Really? Angle and Undertaker again. You put them together. But anyway, I was going to say, so Angle already been your Continental Champion, already been King of the Ring. But then Fully Loaded 2000 happens, and you've got Angle, you've got Jericho, and you've got Benoit all have that moment on pay-per-view against the biggest stars in the company at that point, and they all come out of that going, these guys are ready. Because Jericho had been WWF champion for about 45 seconds earlier in the year with Triple H, but he and Hunter had that great match of Fully Loaded, and then Rock and Benoit had the match where Benoit was the WWF champion for 45 seconds. But man, Kurt Angle was ready, and he had the match with Undertaker at Fully Loaded, and then they had the Survivor Series shenanigans. But this one here, Kurt Angle had to pick up that big gold belt after Dave Bautista tore his bicep off the goddamn bone. How we feel about David Ring or not, that's a messed up injury. That sucks. And especially momentum that both he and Cena had coming out of the previous WrestleMania. They were both having the same length reign. And figure they both had to lose their titles. Granted, Cena's was dictated by storyline because of Edge cashing in, but they both ended their reign the same week. Edge was never given that chance. He had 3 weeks, and then he was back without the title, which sucked. Angle had to pick up, who knows where they were going to go with Batista as world champion in 2006. We don't know. We never will know because Batista spent WrestleMania on the sidelines that year. But Kurt Angle, to his damn credit, rolled in there, won that Battle Royal, went from the slight evolution of his character into the badass wrestling machine he had been on Raw, and took it to SmackDown and went up another level. He really did. And as world champion between the week after New Year's Revolution, and WrestleMania, he was on another, as beat up as he was, Angle was on another level in that world title reign. And getting a WrestleMania quality match out of Undertaker in 2006 wasn't the easiest thing to do. Undertaker had not hit that point of, all right, I've been dealing with Khali for a year. I'm ready to do some real shit now. And him and Angle just went in the No Way Out, and everybody went, whoa. And we knew it was going to happen because the Rumble ended with Undertaker destroying the ring with his magic tricks, with Kurt Angle being in there. And again, the 2006 Rumble, if you're watching it live or you're watching it, at a bar in Lancaster, pissing your own damn self off because Ed lost the championship and Rey Mysterio got Eddie Guerrero's Royal Rumble victory, you're already having a shitty night as it is. But Undertaker makes you wonder, Angle Undertaker, all right? And they had as James would say, they had the banger of the main event. And it was a great match, and it's number 3 on my list.
It's funny that you mentioned the whole losing the title the same week thing.
Yeah.
Because if rumor is to be believed, and Eddie doesn't die in November, and he takes the title off of Batista that night, as has been heavily rumored, Batista could have taken some time off and maybe wouldn't have had that injury.
Yeah. You figure.
Then you have Ray win the Rumble anyways, and you've got Ray, but you've got Ray and Eddie at Mania
for the world title.
I mean, rumor is it was supposed to be Eddie and Shawn, but still,
again, thread. And think about it. Batista started going harder and more determined because Eddie passed. Mm-hmm. Ran himself ragged. Won the tag titles with Ray, which had no business happening.
I mean, you think about Eddie's trajectory. He's WWE champion, defending against Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 20 successfully.
Damn, one of the best matches ever.
The next year, he's jerking the curtain with Ray.
One of the best opening matches of WrestleMania ever.
The following year, he's gone. But what if we get Eddie Ray hot off the heels of the custody of Dominic Angle from that summer?
Yeah.
And this time the match is for Eddie's title.
Again, so good. But a classic case of WWE turning a horrible chicken shit situation into chicken salad. The Orton Rey Mysterio thing at No Way Out was what the hell it was, and it was bad.
Yeah,
it was
that didn't make my list
No.
for reasons.
No,
That was one of the few moments where it was hard being a Randy fan.
right?
I see you keep looking up above, Ray, but Eddie's not up there. He's down below in hell.
If ever there was a point where you and I had been together at that point, which we weren't, and it was another time we had to pull my foot away from the TV, it would have been that right there. I'll tell you what.
I was like, wow, Randy, really?
That
really, Randy?
Even in storyline, that's fucked up.
I'm hearing riddle in my head, like, hey, Randy. It's fucked up.
Fucked up. It was so like, damn, I know it's WWE and they've done some lowbrow shit, but damn. Anyway, but No Way Out 06 ended with such a kick-ass world title match.
It was good, yeah.
So, all right. Number 2 is the other one we have in the exact same spot. Cactus and Hunter. Again, we talked about it earlier. Triple H, love him, hate him as World or WWE champion in the first half of the 2000s. We all know how I feel about that. I have a career because of it. He made Cactus Jack in the WWF.
Yep. Bottom line. That's the statement. That's the tweet.
That's the tweet. Put it out there. He knows it too.
140 characters or less.
He knows it too. So does
Triple
Mick.
H made Cactus Jack in WWE.
Yep.
Exclamation point, tweet.
Both times. You figure 97, Dude versus Hunter would have been fun in the Garden.
It would have been passable.
It would have been passable. Mankind versus Hunter in the Garden would have been money. Would have been money. Cactus Jack's debut in the WWF, after already having seen Vince take the stunner, Garden fucking nearly blows up. It really does. And then you come back 3 years later, going into a Garden show. Let's be clear, this is the Rumble we're talking about. It's not No Way Out yet, but we'll get there. Well, it's No Way Out. I promise there'll be a No Way Out show because we're talking about No Way Out.
Long-term storytelling.
And again, it doesn't have to be as good as it was. It could have been just passable. That moment where Mankind gets obliterated after being reinstated by the McMahon Helmsley era, but he gets put through that table and fights back and rips that mask off. And for that brief moment on Raw, you see the legitimate fear in Triple H's eyes because he knows whoever he put through that table did not come out of that table the same person. And then on SmackDown with that moment, and Mick talked about it in his book, he talks about it in his documentary. If he waits a second or two too much longer, they're going to start chanting Rocky when he's building up to who's going to sub for Mankind in the Rumble match. But that mask comes off and that shirt comes open and we see that one. I'm getting the fucking goosies right now, son of a bitch. And we see that wanted shirt. Even watching home, you're going, oh shit. Oh shit. He done did it. He done did it now. He done unleashed Cactus. He gonna die. He gonna die bad. And then to be fair, in the Garden, he damn near did die because he got his leg fucking punctured by a pallet, which, you know, he and I both work jobs where we deal with wooden pallets on the regular. Them things ain't no joke. You have one of those puncture your leg, you go in at least to the hospital. At least. If not to an emergency surgery situation, which I think Hunter ended up having to do that night. Just ugly. And then even Mick goes, yeah, it should have been it. And maybe it should have. But
Mick can't do anything half-assed.
No.
And there's only one way Mick knows to end a feud.
And that's all ass. No, that's hell.
That's hell.
Yeah.
That's hell.
But I liken it to his match with The Rock the previous year. No, I don't think it should have been an I Quit match with a chair bludgeoning, let me be clear. But the way they built the dialogue, where Triple H keeps talking, during the Rock buildup, Rock kept throwing things out. They wanted Mankind. No, I'm good. And he says, the Rock quits. You go, you got it. I quit. It was just like, whoa, well, all right then. We're going to have an I quit match. And it turned out how it turned out. God bless Mick's remaining brain cells at this point. But then the following year, Triple H just can't shake the cactus stink off him. He's so just like, just go away already. And then Triple H talks about putting his career on the line, and Cactus goes, fine. And then he just looks right at Hell in a Cell, and Hunter goes, like, God damn it, no, I wouldn't do that.
And that was Hunter's first Hell in a Cell.
That was Hunter's first Hell in a Cell. Yeah, period. That's right.
And you figure post-Foley, Hunter became the best associated with the Cell.
Yeah, I mean, him and Taker both.
So then you think about how that's kind of like a passing in the night.
Yep. But man, and again, at this stage of Mick Foley's physical life, no business being this good a feud at all. And it was. And the No Way Out match, it's for the championship. It's for a man's career. It's inside Hell in a Cell. It's in the WWF's backyard. You figure corporate headquarters is just a few minutes up the road from Hartford. So they literally are home. And I'm choked up. Holy crap, dude. Well, yeah, remember, this is my first WrestleMania I attended. It was after this. So I'm just like, I'm getting all the emotions back in my brain here. It just had everything you wanted in a championship match with so many stakes. And yes, the retirement didn't last. Yes, he was back. But you know what? I got Mick Foley in a main event match at WrestleMania like he always wanted. I ain't going to be mad as a fan.
Nope.
Not at all. That Mania was what it was. I'm not going to lie. But I would.
And you got the Godfather and D'Lo Brown getting wrapped to the ring by Ice-T.
No, I don't, because it didn't exist on the network. So it clearly didn't happen.
I have it on the DVD from the WrestleMania box set. It exists.
I have it on the VHS that I bought at Blockbuster Video, previously viewed, because I worked there, and it was. There you go. First wrestling video I had purchased since SummerSlam 91, because that was the first pay-per-view I ever watched after WrestleMania.
All right.
Anyway, so Cactus and Hunter, again, the reasons cannot be overstated.
So I got to know what your number one is.
It is also one we share. Okay. But I have it rated so much higher because I just remember it so viscerally. It was that damn good out there, say.
Okay.
Because Triple H, coming out of a 2-fall out of 3-fall match with Austin, the victor. Yes. Did he really win? No. He pretty much survived. Because they collapsed on top of each other. But man, this 2-fall.
And then they go on to become the 2-man power trip.
Right? 2 out of 3 falls in one of the biggest show cities in the world, Las Vegas, on a night where
UFC isn't running opposite them.
Yeah, that's because UFC wasn't near what it is at this point. It was Rock Angle, wraps up Angle's championship reign, which again, such a good match. And then Earl fucked up. So, Rock visually screaming at Earl, count. It's like, oh, man, it could have been good. But this match was the show. It really was. As awesome as this card was, there's 4 matches on that list, on my list alone. You had a couple of them like we shared. This feud, this rivalry, which surprisingly enough is not on my rivalry list for next show, believe it or not. Spoiler alert. Yeah. Because it was so good. But you talk about long-term storytelling that you love so much. We talk about every single show we do together.
I do.
I think they had a pretty good idea that it was going to be Hunter behind the wheel, or at least behind the reason behind the wheel at Survivor Series 99 when they wrote Austin off television. But this shit's the payoff. A year and a half after the fact. Now, granted, Austin was off TV for most of that time, but it was always on the tip of everybody's tongue. He came back at Backlash. He cost Hunter the championship. He came back in September for good. Rikishi's revealed. Hunter's a babyface, cracking jokes with Commissioner fucking Foley at this point. He looks right at Commissioner. You know what you say, like Austin always says, DTA, don't trust anybody. And then the Black Glove Man appears as Rikishi's accomplice, and you have the build, and you have the story, and Hunter walked out there to save the day for Austin against Angle and Rikishi. And then when he drops Austin with that sledgehammer, and you even in the edited hype clips, you can hear the air being sucked out of that arena when Hunter drops Austin and reveals himself. You're like, no, I want to cheer you. You're so good. And then that brief moment when he comes out on SmackDown, and it's not quite Let Me Yet, but it's no longer the My Time song either. It's that little edit that is on one of the Spotify releases, but it's got a good little like sinister tone to it. And you're like, ooh, we got Bad Guy Hunter back. Okay. All right. I dig it. And he cuts that promo. Who benefited most in your absence? Oh, you say The Rock? No, I did. Who was the WWF in your absence? I was. The Survivor Series match kind of is what it is, I think, for me. Because there was no clear winner. It was just Austin out for blood. He left Triple H literally in a wreckage pile in his own car.
And I mean, you think about it, Triple H got his first win, his first title, the night after SummerSlam in '99.
After taking Austin out initially.
Austin gets ran over 3 months later.
Yeah.
It's already Hunter's world.
Yeah.
The best way to keep the bionic redneck away from your title.
Yeah. And conspiring with a guy who wasn't even back with the company yet to do it. That's next level evil right there. So we get the Survivor Series match, and we still don't get the payoff then. Okay, we'll put them in the cell the other four. We still don't get the payoff. Okay, well, we'll have them separate for the Rumble, and they interact at the Rumble. It's like, all right, enough of this shit. We got to do something. And Vince, to his credit on television and behind the scenes, goes, all right, we'll put you guys, because we're going Rock and Austin at Mania. That's got to be the thing. It's the biggest Mania we ever had, so we're going to have you guys do a rematch. But Austin and Hunter go into No Way Out, and they have a no contact clause going in. And I'll never forget one of the few times I actually enjoyed a contract signing. Right, Aaron? Triple H signs 1H. We don't see that he signs only 1H, and then lays Austin out after Vincent said, if any one of you guys, you'd be suspended for 6 months. And Hunter goes, I never signed the whole thing. And Vince, he wants to be mad, but he's finally like, that's my son-in-law. That's right, bitch. He done this awesome. See, he learned from the master. Everyone's used to look back and go, man, Vince loved Paul before Stephanie did. Goddamn, I don't care what he says. And then we keep building and building, and I'll never forget it because I just watched it recently. Right before No Way Out, Austin gives Stephanie the stunner. People forget that actually happened before Homecoming 2005. He dropped Stephanie on her goddamn chin, and Hunter raced out there like he'd been shot his damn self. And it's like, oh, he done did the thing with the white. Oh, man, they going to die this weekend. And what happens in Vegas usually stays in Vegas because they both could have died very easily. But, man, like you said, each of them won the fall that the other one should have won. And that third fall, neither one of them really won. Because the sledgehammer, I forget what weapon Austin had, so forgive me. But they literally just collide in the middle of the ring, and Hunter happens to fall on Austin. So do we really get a payoff for the rivalry that it encapsulated us for 2 years? Not really. But did Hunter have bragging rights going forward that he beat Austin 2 straight? You're goddamn right he did. So that's why it's number one, because of long-term storytelling. Everybody, oh, it was such a great feud. And, it never really paid off. It did in terms of match quality, in terms of buys, in terms of fan satisfaction, but there was never a clear-cut, decisive winner of the rivalry. And that's why it's my number one match. And I'm seriously looking at my feuds list for 2 weeks going, maybe I'd advise in Feeks because goddamn.
So there we go. 16 different matches.
There you go.
Not bad. Not bad. What do you guys think? Any matches we forgot that we left out? Let us know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over there next to Meacham. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. But let's have that conversation, that discussion, that debate, that interaction that we're always asking for you guys in the comments. You know, we've got so much more in store for you here on the Multiverse of Media.
Yes. We now officially on the road to WrestleMania now because ain't nothing between here and Inglewood but airspace. So literally airspace because 5 hours a week on television. Goddamn. Not counting the 2 on NXT every week. So please let us know what you think. Is there anything we missed as far as No Way Out goes? Because No Way Out, like people forget how long you said a full decade, except for 99, a full decade straight. And then the 2012 one was what it was. Johnny H, you piece of crap. This just shows brought to you by the fact that we hate John Laurinaitis. Hi, good night, everybody. Damn. But you've got No Way Out, and the road to WrestleMania has always, really since 93, has been the biggest time of the year. It's definitely the busiest time on the Multiverse of Media right now because not only do we have watch-alongs damn near every week at this point, not only do we have, God bless Noah, 5 straight days, 7 straight events, or whatever the hell it is at this point I booked that poor bastard into.
5 days, 7 events. If we don't add Dynamite the Wednesday going into all that, just because.
And then the Dynamite Battle of the Belts watch along the following Friday.
But at least we get a few days between Raw after Mania and
that's fair. That's fair. We give Noah 3 whole days off to rest. So we are kind to our talent here in the Multiverse of Media. Even
though I know for a fact he's going to want to do a simple recap video with me coming off the heels of Mania, probably Raw, Tuesday, so that we can then air it either Wednesday or Thursday.
So then he and James probably want to do a Dynamite watch along because it'll be the Dynamite going into the Battle of the Belt. So yeah, no sleep for Noah. Yeah, God.
Foster. Noah Foster.
We evil. We going to hell. That's okay. Again, let us know what you think we didn't include on the calendar going forward. You guys have seen the calendar. You've seen the trailers all freaking month pretty much. So what do you guys want to see from the Multiverse of Media, from the dads, from me, from Noah, from everybody else? Let us know.
Yeah. I had someone ask me a week or so ago about if they could request movies for me to review. Absolutely. I'm always open to suggestions. They may not get taken right away.
Right.
You got to figure out where I'm going to book it in my themes and everything.
Yes.
But I'm always open to suggestions.
Absolutely.
You know, like they said in Boondock Saints, kind of like 7-Eleven. We may not always do business, but we're always open.
That's right. And again, you know, luckily, at least coming up in a couple weeks, movies featuring or starring wrestlers kind of are what they are for the most part. So JJ's going to have himself a month of challenges, we'll say. What the fuck works too? I was trying to avoid the effort, but hell, okay. So he's going to have a month of what the fuck. But yeah, he's got themes penciled in, we'll say. But he is always down, as am I, for that audience interaction, that Absolutely. Give and take, because like we said at the top, without you guys commenting along, and throwing those super chats our way during the live streams, we got nothing. So we appreciate the audience interaction. We definitely appreciate the contributions and the support and everything you guys have given since I threw my damn self back out there over 3 years ago. And I thank you for it again. I say it every time I'm on camera, but thank you guys again so very much. It's so rare I get to go on camera and do this for 2 hours a week these days because I'm so busy working my ass off for the rodent in Anaheim, the House of Mouse. Thank you, the Mouse Mafia sometimes. But I thank you. My brother thanks you. My father thanks you. I thanks you because you're helping keeping us paid. So, and my sister, I had one, but thank you. I have a sister, it's not a blood sister, so she thanks you too. Because y'all keep my ass busy and out of her damn hair. So we thank you. And please continue to support us. Hit that like button. I forget where it is on the screen, right around here somewhere, as I reckon. Hit subscribe, which is also down here somewhere. But more importantly, turn on that bell, because that way you guys know when we're live, when we're premiering, when we're doing anything, any sort of hashtag shenanigans on the Multiverse Media.
And even beyond that, share.
Oh my
videos.
God, please share. Yes.
I know that there's a good number of you guys that are in different wrestling groups on the social medias.
Oh, yes.
Copy the link, paste it in the groups, promote us.
Right.
Because that is going to bring new viewers, new fans, new subscribers, new likes, not just to the Casa, but to the Jeff Meacham Network as well.
And the more likes he gets, the more new viewers he gets, we'll hit that magic YouTube number and start getting this man paid for sure.
Yeah.
So please.
Which WrestleMania is the target goal. We're just a little over a month away.
Yeah. God damn, that's crazy. A little over a month away already.
It's still possible.
Yes.
Just need you guys to
That's
commit
where
to
you guys
the
come in,
cause.
for real. So with that being said, we thank you again for watching us do our crazy shit the last 2 hours. JD is reviewing you're still in your Black History Month this week, so check that stuff out.
I forget the order that they are coming this week, but I know I have Selma coming up this week, which is a Martin Luther King film.
Good. Yeah.
I've got a film that I actually found at the Dollar Tree called Behind the Movement. It's the Rosa Parks story.
That was a good story. That was a good telling of that story.
And then I've got Denzel Washington and Malcolm X to round the week out.
God, Malcolm X.
Just a whole civil rights movement week here on the Casa.
Seriously, I really learned a lot about the Malcolm X story because of Denzel's movie. So, God, I'm glad you included that one. That's good stuff. And then, new release Saturday for the Renegade, the weekly acquisition report, the War Zone, which, we're on Monday, so we got to talk about the War Zone. Right. And just there's so much content going on out there.
Yeah.
Just like he says, put that shit on loop and just let it ride, folks. It's good stuff. Please do that. Take the time to watch it. Give us some feedback on the movies. Yeah, help brother out. Because, damn it, we need monetization, not just beer money. We need money, period. So thank you all very much. We appreciate it.
For the West Coast Professor, Jeff motherfucking Meacham, I am the Renegade of Wrestling this week.
Aha.
JJ Williams.
And next week.
Thank you for tuning in and joining us, as he said, for the shenanigans this week.
Yes.
We will see you in 2 weeks when we do our top 10 feuds of all time. See you then.